The October 20th, 2025 meeting of the Bay City City Commission will come to order. The city clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. After, we will have a moment of silence for long-serving principal of Bay City Central High School, Tim Marciniak. Please rise. Thank you. All right, the first order of business is presentations, and we have a few. Oh, you know what? We got to make sure everybody's here. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cubit. Here. Coakley.
Here.
Tenney.
Here.
Zanotti.
Here.
DeWitt.
Here.
Rumberg.
Here.
Charlebois.
Here.
Morris. And Mr. Mayor.
Present. I did hear from Commissioner Morris, who's going to be a little delayed. He had a car closing he had to do. Oh, is there a motion? Commissioner Coakley?
Motion to excuse Commissioner Morris.
Is there a second? Commissioner DeWitt?
Second.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, Commissioner Morris is excused. Okay, now we can move into presentations. So this is fun. So we decided to do our first ever, well, somebody said there was a while ago. I don't ever remember a Halloween decorating contest. It sounds like there was, so we brought it back. And so we have some winners, and we wanted to acknowledge it. I think it was a fun, and it's still going on, and I think people are still decorating, but to acknowledge people at this meeting and hopefully bring more people out to see all the wonderful decorations throughout town. We want to acknowledge folks at this meeting. So I'm going to flip over to the hand mic. And so we didn't do first, second, and third. We did 3 residential folks we wanted to recognize and 2 businesses. And we'll start with the hello? Okay. We'll find out. If it goes dead again, that means the batteries. So so the first one is 918 Fitzhugh. Come on up. And give her a round of applause. She had a tight. We have to use this mic. So can you say who you are?
My name is Mary Mundike, and I live at 918 Fitzhugh, and I have like 24 blow-ups and other stuff decorated in my house. I have a Grim Reaper that's taller than my house.
So I want to congratulate you and appreciate your decorating, and I have a...
Thank you.
I have something for you. Does the batteries work? Okay, cool, thank you. For now. And this is a gift certificate. Lori Beaver from Beavers made a contribution, and so go enjoy. They have Beavers, they have Washington Pub, and Castaways, so go enjoy that. Thank you. Another round of applause. All right, next one, Winona Street, 1506. Did I get the address right? All right, it is 1506. For some reason, your little thing for the telephone said 1504. I'm like, oh, okay. But why don't you introduce yourself and what you did with your house?
I'm Brandy Strauss. I just bought a bunch of Home Depot decorations and put them up.
Well, no, there's like a whole curtain. Like you have like a digital curtain, right? And it, Yeah, there's a whole bunch going on there, and I did, we put it out there on social media, and then I shared a bunch of pictures, and I think you were one of the highest number of people liked and shared it. So thank you for your contribution to this event. Thank you. Oh yeah, and so I have you from Beavers Pub. Enjoy. Thank you. Give a round of applause. All right. So this next one, this was pretty incredible too. 200 West Chestnut. And she got home late last night. I was put a card said to call me, and you should see this display. So I'm gonna let you talk about it.
All right. It's actually 201 West Chestnut.
Oh, what did I say?
200. That's just across the street. I'm Bridget Lasecki, and I've been decorating for 12 years at this house, and I have a ton of animatronics. We usually tarp the house, and I have step pads for everybody, and so all the kids can enjoy it.
Thank you. And so this is from My Secret Garden, a whole bunch of different Halloween stuff, since you like a lot of different Halloween things. So again, a round of applause. Thank you so much. And then we have two business winners, and Paul's Flowers. Anybody here from Paul's? He thought he was going to be here, but he was a little delayed. So go check out Paul's display on Lafayette there. He did all the windows are completely decorated, and you go inside, it's all Halloween. So go check out Paul's. And anybody from Bruno's Pet Parlor? They were closed today. I left them a message. So, all right, we're going to get them. And then the last one I created with this, the Mayor's Halloween Spirit Award. And it's going to be hopefully a traveling award to recognize the neighborhood for Halloween spirit. And so Paul's Flowers actually donated this. So it'll be a traveling, so don't break it. Otherwise, I don't know how it's going to travel. So the 1700 block of Chilson, we've had some challenges this year, but I tell you, come on up, anybody that lives in that block. They do have a lot of Halloween spirit, and so let's give them a round of applause. You want to tell them who you are and what's going on? And
Jamie and Anne Marie Payne. We're just representing the whole block tonight because nobody else can make it. So,
all right.
I mean, all the credit goes to Matt, who started all this a few years ago, and the kids have gone more and more every year. Last year we had over 800 kids. This year it's probably going to be crazy with all the publicity we've got. So, yeah, it's just fun.
So there are awards for everybody on the block, and then I forgot. So sponsored by Michigan Sugar sponsored that award for me. So I got a bunch of bags for everybody in the block. So I'll have to go to the block and drop them off, but I'm going to give you that. And actually the other award winners, so Michigan Sugar, I asked them, yeah, there's a lot of sugar. You know, this really is a sweet holiday, right? So they stepped up and made a donation. And we appreciate them. Actually, Mulligan's Pub, I didn't announce them too. Yeah, our community is really a great community. They really come together. And so we wanted to show something to show the spirit of our community. So you can accept it on behalf of the neighborhood. And so don't break it. All right, and it does light up. Pretty cool, huh? So let's give them a round of applause. All right, thank you. I got it all. All right, our next presentation is the Sister City update. Ms. Muscat.
Yep, so we have constituents from Ansbach here today. They're all educators, and I believe Kathy is going to be doing the PowerPoint.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Dardis, and I am an assistant principal at the Bay Aranac ISD Career Center, and I've had the opportunity to be a part of our Sister City educational intercultural exchange for about the past 6 years. And tonight we have a couple of our educators as well as 4 of teachers from Ansbach, Germany here to help us in our presentation.
So, good afternoon. My name is Andreas Bott. I'm a teacher at the commercial school in Ansbach. My subjects are math and English. And I'm very proud and happy to be here today. And we'd like to found an exchange with our pupils and pupils from the Bay City schools. And we hope to, well, close some cultural gaps and to find new friendships, for example. Thank you to be here.
Hi there, my name is Thomas Zink. I'm teaching sports and English at Wirtschaftsschule in Ansbach. All right. Yeah, we have a partnership with Bay City. So Ansbach has a partnership with Bay City for 65 years now, and we are trying to be part of that partnership now and establish an exchange program with students from our school and your schools. And yeah, I'm very proud and happy to be here today. Thanks for the opportunity and thanks for having us.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Pfund and I'm a teacher at the Wirtschaftsschule or commercial school in Ansbach as well. And my subjects are German and history. And I'm really proud of being part of that exchange program and I feel really honored to be here today.
Good evening. My name is Susanne Britz. I'm also a teacher and I'm the principal of our school. And I teach the subjects German and sports. And I'm also very glad to be here to have such an interesting program and to visit you all. And I'm very looking forward to our exchange and I'm glad about it. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Susan Elder. I am the German teacher at Bay City Central High School and Handy Middle School, and I'm part of the Sister City Educational Intercultural Exchange for about 6 years now. We are very glad to welcome our guests from Ansbach. We're very grateful for the invitation to present to the commission tonight, and we just look forward to growing our partnership with our sister city and our educational cohort.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Forrest. I'm actually a retired teacher at Bay Arnett Career Center and a proud member of the educational cohort of our sister city committee, and really pleased to be now a committee member, a community member representing our community for all of the engagements we have with the educational cohort. Thank you.
So our exchange has been happening for about 3+ years, and in that time we have had several groups of educators visit Bay City as well as travel to Ansbach, and we've also had student groups, and we will continue to have student groups travel. Our Bay City Public Schools and the Career Center have been the 2 main educational groups that have participated in this exchange. However, we also have expanded to include community members, the Donk Club, our city manager as well. Individuals from Saginaw Valley, Delta College are also part of this partnership. And the goal this week, while we have our 4 educators from the Wirtschaftsschule, is to be able to support an understanding of what career and technical education is and the opportunities that students have at the Career Center and the connections that they make with business and industry. And the secondary, while they're at the Career Center, their curriculum, and then how their path leads into their post-secondary opportunities. And so today we hosted the educators at the Career Center. We will be visiting Delta College and Saginaw Valley, as well as the Bay City Public Schools this week. We will also be having a tour of Bay City, and heading up north as well to see some, hopefully some beautiful colors and show off our state. It is something that we are very proud of, and the Ansbach Platz that sits in Uptown is part of this process that we supported, and that really was one of the celebratory spots for our 60th anniversary, and our upcoming plans.
So part of growing our cultural exchange and supporting it includes some fundraising nights that also include cultural education. So we plan to have a trivia night in January, focusing possibly on German trivia and maybe some German food and drink. We host a German dinner at the Bear Neck ISD. This will be our second annual dinner in the spring. Last year it was incredibly successful. The culinary students at the Career Center design and cook the German meal. We have German music, we have support from the Dunk Club members, and our students who are traveling serve the meal and clean up. The biggest thing that we have coming is in 2026, as part of our 65th anniversary with our sister city. We will be exchanging with our schools in Ansbach. We are taking a group of students in 2026 to Ansbach in July, and we are inviting a group of students back from Ansbach to Bay City in September. So that is something, again, this will be our third exchange in the past 6 years, and we're very, very proud of it. Looking forward for everybody in the room, in 2026 is our 65th anniversary celebration. Again, this is one of the longest standing people-to-people partnerships in the country. So it's something that the city should be very proud of, and we are, of course, as an educational cohort, very proud of it. But that is coming up this summer, so this will be great. We always want to send out a great thank you. We couldn't do this alone. The Bay Arnett Career Center and Bay City Public Schools are very supportive. We have great support from the Dunk Club in Bay City, which is the German-American club that meets every first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. at Tavern 101. So if you want to come and join, you're more than welcome. Of course, the City of Bay City have been great partners. The Sister City Partnership Committee between Bay City and Ansbach, and also that in Frankenmuth and Gunzenhausen. John and Martha Kaczynski and SVSU have been great partners as well. So if you would like to be involved with any of the previously stated fundraisers, or if you want any extra information, please email me. That is my email, elders@bcschools.net. And again, thank you for this opportunity to welcome our guests and to present to you again.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming and presenting, and we appreciate the relationship between the two cities and opportunity to attend the German dinner fundraiser. And so that was a great event, and then also on an exchange with a few of you on a call. So definitely wonderful experience, and hopefully we have more people involved. I think these kind of relationships are important globally. So thank you all for being here, and welcome. Hope you enjoy your time. And I know we have citywide survey. I did see Paul from Paul's Flowers, and he came in a little bit late, but I want to give him his recognition for the Halloween decorating contest. Come on up real quick while the city manager prepares. All right, so we have the widely anticipated citywide survey results.
Don't get too excited here. Okay, so to start out, I want to give you some facts that we had 740 responses that we collected for the whole month of July. If you look at it in perspective, we have about 32,000 residents in Bay City, so about 10% responded. Some of these we could tell were duplicates, so I'm just going to tell you about that first. I can tell that some people probably filled out duplicates because the answers were the exact same, even the written answers. So just a heads up on that. The surveys primarily came back from online submittals, but we also had a number of citizens in Bay City that picked up a paper copy, and we just had to input those. All right, so we're going to get into some general information, and then as we go through these slides, it digs a little bit deeper into the departments. So we'll go quickly through this stuff. What area, Bay City, do you live in? You can see here a high percentage was the South End, in the Northwest, and the Northeast. If you're looking at the other entries, a lot of people put they were unsure, or they were from the downtown area. The age group, it looks like we had a large response from the 49 to 64 at 39%, and then 25 to 44 we had 35%, and then the seniors at 65 and older we had 24%. How long have you lived in Bay City? You can see that a huge number, 53% in fact, they've lived here for 30 years or more. And then the occupations that we asked them of were 63% were employed, and 31% were retired. So this one did like a broad ask about all of our city services, and like I said, we're going to dive down a little bit deeper when we get to those slides. And it's asking how satisfied residents were with our services. So we looked at water quality, water service for the cost, sewer and stormwater, electric service and electric service for cost, and trash and recycling. If you just look at the very satisfied and satisfied, those numbers are high. So like water quality, they're happy, they're 62%, and I can just completely go down to electric service reliability, it was 59%. The one that threw me off a little bit is the electric service and the cost. It was about 28%, but I checked with electric today because we always sold our services on, we have lower utilities for electric compared to a competitor in another area of Saginaw, Michigan. But today we have 28% difference between us. So we are 28% cheaper than the other company. Have you had any recent problems with these services? 68% said no. This next page talks about our city services, and we just put down the issues that experience issues. So we didn't put any of the good comments in here. We just wanted to drill down on some of the issues that people are having. Like power and water concerns, our takeaway where residents are noticing power reliability issues and concerns about water quality. Electric and water billing issues, billing fairness and transparency are top concerns. Trash and recycling, waste services could benefit from improved consistency in communication. I think that's probably when someone's trash recycling was left at the curb or it got missed that day. Sewer, infrastructure maintenance, especially stormwater and sewer, is a key worry for our residents. And then overall cost, residents have experienced issues. They don't feel that they're getting what they pay for. This slide shows how would you rate customer service in the City of Bay City service departments. So I took it from the excellent to the fair, which I think that's good to look at. It was 75%. They were rated excellent, good, and fair. And do you support increased investment in utility infrastructure? I want you to remember this right now because they're saying yes. 51% is saying yes, and 29% is saying not sure. And we're going to cover that later. The next slide shows if they own or rent. Obviously, you can see 87% own. And then what type of housing do you feel the City of Bay City needs more of? So they were able to pick from a list of things that we had, and some people did put other entries. And 31% says we need more affordable housing. 29% says we need more single-family homes. And then 17% says, I don't believe Bay City needs any more housing. In the neighborhoods and housing, how safe do you feel in your neighborhood? So once again, I took the mostly safe, very safe, and I added in the neutral at this point because I felt if they weren't feeling safe, they would absolutely say that. So 86% are saying that they feel safe in their neighborhoods. How satisfied are you with the current state of public safety infrastructure? So we're talking about police stations, fire departments, to that matter, and I took it down to the neutral again, and 73% said they're very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, and neutral. This slide is going to show some comments that were made about public safety. Now, once again, I'm going to remind you that these are statements that came in where people were not satisfied. So we do have comments with the satisfaction, but there are some that we wanted to list are not satisfied. Crime and police presence, the community takeaway, where residents are feeling uneasy about neighborhood safety and want stronger traffic and crime enforcement. And then perception of understaffing. There are concerns about our staffing levels as they see a threat to emergency readiness. Fire station closures. Some residents are worried that fire protection coverage is reduced or stations are under-maintained. And negative media or publicity. The takeaway for us was news coverage and anecdotal experiences are shaping public trust in public safety departments. Now, a few slides back, I shared with you that 73% were satisfied with, was it 73%? I have to go back here. Yeah, with public safety. And then these were the comments from people that were not on board. This is more about public safety. Would you support a dedicated public safety millage that would fund our upgrades to our police and fire stations or additional personnel? So we had 76% say they would fund it. So strongly support, somewhat support, and neutral. But if you look at the numbers next to it, 46% said they would only pay $50 per year. And 31% said $0 a year. So they want to have a dedicated public millage put on the ballot, but according to the survey, it doesn't look like they want to fund it. So the roads and transportation, how would you rate the condition of our roads? We're all well aware that our PASER ratings are low, hence the 79% saying that our road conditions are poor. And then we asked if snow removal is handled well. We came back, this is just kind of a little mixture because sometimes 41% yes, 27%, and 32% said no. Oh, did I not change that? Sorry.
Oh,
I'll let you look at that for a minute.
Can you make sure you're speaking into the mic, please?
Yep. Okay. For roads and transportation, this is another one that's not satisfied. So slow response times. It was residents want faster snow and ice removal after weather events, and quality of plowing. Residents feel plowing could be more thorough and less obstructive. Side street neglect. We do get a lot of calls about this, about when are we going to plow the side streets. Perception that service prioritizes main thoroughfares over residential areas. And then weather responsive operations. People want more flexible storm-based approach. Roads and transportation continues. Do you think street maintenance is handled well? We have 61% that said no, and only 9% said yes. The top concerns with roads or transportation, so they had to put these in order from 1 to 6 to your least concern. Of course, potholes was number 1. Then traffic flow and sidewalk conditions followed that up. These are also some more takeaways from roads and transportation. Road surface quality and repairs that addressed potholes, cracks, uneven pavement, snow and ice control, desire for faster or more thorough plowing and salting during the winter storms, traffic flow and signaling timing, complaints about poorly timed stoplights, which causes traffic backups. Non-motorist safety and accessibility, pedestrian crossings, and bike lane safety mentioned repeatedly, with calls for more crosswalk signage and visibility improvements. And construction management, concerns about our project timelines, coordination, and detours. We saw quite a bit of people saying that we had too much road construction being done in the city at the same time. More on roads and commissions, or transportation. So we asked the same exact question that we asked about for public safety. Would you support a local road millage, a small property tax increase dedicated specifically for repairing and maintaining Bay City streets? 47% said yes, 21% said they're unsure, but once again, we had 42% say that they'd only pay $50 per year, and 38% said that they would not support a millage. Roads and transportation. So these answers only reflect those who would not want a local road millage. Distrust in government spending. They were skeptical about whether the funds would be used as promised. Tax burden concerns, worries about adding to already high property taxes, demand for better financial management, beliefs of the road issues could be addressed through budget reallocations, just wanting more information. They're uncertain of some of the information for like timelines and concerns about the scope. There is some disappointment that MDOT roads wouldn't be included in perception that this limits the benefit of the millage. More on roads and commissions. Would you pay a special assessment to fund improvements specifically for your road? So we're asking them now, the road that's in front of their house. 51% said no. 18% said yes. And then when we asked, obviously, for the funding, $0. So we had 51% said they would not support an assessment, and 36% said $50 per year. Moving on to parks and recreation, how often does your family visit Bay City parks or trails? Often, 36%, sometimes was 30%. We had 22% that says rarely, and 12% that was never. Parks or recreation areas that you do not use or enjoy, this is answers that people put down themselves. The first one, 139 responses, was Veterans Memorial Park, and then the second one was State Park, even though that's not located in the city, Bay City, but we wanted to keep that on here. And you can see the others listing on there. Still on parks improvement, are there parks or facilities that need improvements? 54% said yes, and they noted that Veterans Memorial Park were 45 responses, and then once again, they did list State Park, 40 responses. I'll be sharing those with the county after we do this. And I do want to show you too, public restrooms were one of the things that people had on here, 23 responses for public restrooms. Parks and recreation, would you like to see more of? And then there was a field that they had to check. And so the top ones were walking trails and also restrooms. And now we're moving on to tree awareness and perception. We asked them, are you aware of trees planted between the sidewalk and the street are typically owned and maintained by the city of Bay City? 90% of everybody who responded said yes. And do you think the city is doing a good job maintaining street trees in your area? 49% said yes. It doesn't matter if they answered yes or no on these questions. These were key takeaways to the questions. Tree maintenance and safety concerns. Many residents expressed worries about dead, diseased, or overgrown trees, especially near the sidewalks, homes, and our power lines. Tree removal request. Several comments focused on removing specific hazardous trees or stumps that have been left behind after removal. Tree planting and replacement. They also want to see more trees planted, especially after removals, to maintain shade and neighborhood beauty. And then responsibility. They mentioned confusion and frustration over who is responsible for tree care, the city or the property owners. And then the environmental value. A few comments celebrated the benefits of trees, calling for their protection and thoughtful placement. In the past year, have you reported a problem related to a street tree? 84% said no. Once again, here's some takeaways. Fast and positive response. They reported that they had very prompt service, often the same day or within a few days, and expressed appreciation. Slow or no response. A portion of comments described long delays, weeks, months, or years, or no resolution at all. Partial or incomplete work. They said crews addressed only part of the problem, trimming instead of removing dead trees, leaving stumps, or failing to follow up. And just another one, the sidewalk and property damage. Multiple comments noted about tree roots lifting sidewalks, damaging lawns, or causing drainage problems. Have you noticed any city-owned trees removed in your neighborhood in the past 1 to 2 years? We had 51% that said yes. And in your opinion, was removal of these trees necessary and appropriate? Was 24%, unnecessary 17%, and the highest was 59% with not enough information to say. They drilled down a little bit, and there's a couple, like this McKinley Avenue showed up on here because it's a big project right now. There was a high concentration of outrage over the complete removal of the trees on McKinley. City planning and communication, residents felt the communication could have been better. Necessity versus overreach. Support for removal when the trees were dead or diseased, causing sidewalk buckling and damaging sewers. Environmental impact, again, loss of shade, beauty, and bird habitat. Replacement concerns. Replacements when planted are often too small, poor quality, or not in the same location. And then just a couple sub-themes, maintenance issues, wildlife impact, or perception issues. When a street tree is removed, how often do you see it replaced with a new one? We had 32% that said not sure. We had 20% that said sometimes, and rarely was 21%. How important is that the street trees are replaced in a timely manner? 42% said very important, and then 26% said somewhat important. But once again, we asked about increased funding. Would you support increased funding to ensure timely replacement of city-owned trees that are removed? 55% said no. 31% said not sure. City communication and engagement. What is your primary method of obtaining information about city services? And we asked them to check all that apply. So the ones that did come up were Facebook or social media, our city website. People rely on word of mouth, our email newsletter that goes out, local newspaper. How well do you feel informed about decisions made by the city commission? 58% said no, and 32% said somewhat, and then we had 11% said yes. Continuing on communication, would you like more opportunities to give input or get more involved? We had 46% say maybe, and we had 34% say yes. I want to point out that there were 70 people that had asked to get involved with the city. So follow-up was made with all of them to join a CDC or some of our board openings that we have. So they were all contacted about an opportunity to do some things with the city. Continuing on communication, have you contacted City Hall or another department in the past year? 54% said no. 46% said yes. If so, how would you rate your experience? We had 11% say exceptional, 39% said good, and 23% said neither good or bad. Some comments that we got back from the residents were the things that they didn't like was runaround, lack of responsiveness, rudeness or poor treatment, infrastructure and service delivery complaints. They had mentioned there that nothing has been done about the sidewalk in front of their house, but her taxes keep continually going up. Positive experiences, there's a few listed there. A number of residents shared excellent customer service stories. And then overall observations, the most common ones were lack of response, going between departments, structural concerns, and some residents did single out individual employees and departments for excellent service. City leadership and representation. Do you feel that the Bay City's elected officials listen to and represent the interests of residents? 7% said yes most of the time, 32% said sometimes, and then 23% said rarely. Does the City Commission clearly explain what decisions are being made and why? They felt 5% said yes, 35% said somewhat, and then 43% says not at all. The next question we asked is, do you feel there are enough opportunities for public input on important city decisions? 55% said no. The leadership and representation, these are the feedback on public input opportunities. So they listed transparency and communication. People just want clear explanations of decisions, listening and responsiveness. They feel that their input isn't always heard or acted on. More opportunities for input. They'd like more town halls, more surveys, and some more neighborhood-based meetings, voting and direct democracy. Some people express they want bigger decisions to go to a vote, like tree removal or major projects. Accountability and leadership. Comments mostly pointed to trust issues. And then equity and accessibility. They want easier ways for all residents to participate, including seniors, renters, and those without internet. Qualities that are most important for you, for an elected official. The top one was accountability, and we go right to transparency and responsiveness. We asked them, what do you like most about living in the city of Bay City? I'm just going to go for the titles, the location and waterfront, that small town feel, uptown and local businesses, events, festival and entertainment, affordability and convenience, and our history and character. What are your top 3 issues you'd like the city to prioritize? So this was on a point system. It had to get weighed out. So they get 3 points if it was your number 1, 2 points if it was your number 2, and 1 point for if it was your number 3. The first one came in at roads, streets, sidewalks, and potholes. I feel it not a surprise to us, right? The second one was bridges, tolls, and traffic flow. And then the third one was crime, safety, drugs, and homelessness. So here is some open feedback. If people had some other comments or suggestions to give towards the end of the survey. People did want some more information or suggestions about roads and infrastructure. Obviously, they want us to fix the roads before anything else. They talked about government spending and priorities. They said that the city needs to prioritize infrastructure over events. Parks and recreation, they were talking about keeping our parks clean and safe. That is it. So I did express, I was going to talk about it at the end, but I already mentioned it, about we did get that information to residents that wanted more information. And hopefully they join a board or a CDC, show up at a CDC meeting and get more participation.
Questions? This is going to be the results posted on our city website?
Yeah, we're going to put it on the website. I will email it to all of you too, so you can just have it for yourself, so you can share it as well. It's in the packet, but I think it gets a little wonky trying to pull it from there, so I'll just email it to you.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'd just like you to speak maybe about this experience and how time-consuming it was. I noted that somebody would like more surveys. Is this something that wasn't too much of a burden, that we could sort of make it a routine, that it almost build the expectation that it's going to be available at a certain time every year and maybe grow input or responses? And
I mean, it was for 1 month, and obviously the system puts the numbers together for us. So, I mean, it's not that big of work. This was something that was in my goals from the commission to do a city survey for this year. So that's why we started doing one. We used to do them years back, but they were pretty centralized. We would talk just about parks, or we would talk about DPW and roads. So this one covered everything, obviously.
do you think it might be possible to make it more of a tradition, that we do it regularly? That wouldn't be too much of a burden?
That would be nice. Hopefully we get more answers back than 740.
Perfect. Commissioner Runberg.
Thank you for the presentation, Dana. Did we have to hire outside consulting firm to do this, or were these questions come ourselves?
No, it was in-house.
Okay, so we don't have like licensing worries about doing this every year or anything. We can just, it's ours, we can do what we want with it, and then
Yeah.
compare stats going forward, see where we're improving on, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Thank you.
welcome.
I know I was one talking you on this a lot to get this out. Some of the answers are things that I'm not very surprised at, and some of them are ones that's like, well, a little bit surprising, but not terribly much so. Again, if people who are listening, because I know, we say we had 740 responses, usually we average 10 people who watch the live stream, and normally 20 people here. There's 32,000 people in this city. I don't expect every single one of them to show up,
Right.
but I know that decades-long perceptions of how City Hall operates causes problems with people communicating both directions. And if anyone who might be listening who said that we need to figure out where to cut spending, I'll gladly give you the budget. Give me ideas, because I've been looking at it for Mr. Martini for almost a decade now, and my suggestions are mostly we are tied to required funding, and that's not just an us thing, that's an everywhere thing. So our taxes may be high to some people, and that's the one that I was like, people say taxes are high, it's like they are maybe proportionally, but we also don't have a lot of other services that a lot of places pay on the side. And then the electric bill one, that one, I explain it all the time to people. Our electric's cheaper. that is very much true. But because we link our water, sewer, and trash on the same bill, that's a perception that people don't really click until they see it broken down. Because yes, our water and sewer, our total cost for that is quite high. But just getting that split to kind of influence change of minds or understanding the process is something that is going to take a long time to get throughout the whole city.
And like I said too, we kind of focused on some of the negative comments more because those are the ones we have to look at, right? We can drill down and give you guys like all the comments for all the sections, but we thought we should just address these comments that were negative. So there was plenty of very nice comments too about how the city is running and how our departments are running.
I wouldn't mind a CSV file.
Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you for the presentation, and I definitely welcome all of the feedback on ways we can improve as far as the negative comments go. Do you have any standout positive comments that you want to share with us?
I mean, people, it was hit or miss, right? Like you could get one in that said that they didn't like their service from the electric department, and then we'd get 4 comments in that said they were fabulous, right? So it was more on customer service side. We had some very nice comments about that, about public safety, like interaction with public safety, nice comments. So they are out there.
Nice. On that note, shout out to the city staff who are, getting those positive remarks from folks. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Cubitt.
I would definitely love any data, so please do send that if that's available. I wonder if it's possible to do mini polls on throughout the year on important topics that come up. I know some other feedback was an opportunity for more engagement about significant issues. We don't have to answer now, but just something that we might consider and what that would look like.
Commissioner Coakley.
Thank you for the survey. Very informative. Just a couple quick questions. 63% were 45 and older, and 87%, I believe, were homeowners. How close is that to a reflection of the city in its entirety?
Oh, I'd have to get you that percentage.
I mean, I'm curious
it has
about.
Shifted quite a bit.
And I noticed the younger responses were not that high, and I'd like to see more or figure out a way to get a way to get more of a response from the younger people who live in the city, including the renters. Like I said, 87%, and I would have to backtrack, I believe, were the homeowners, and 63 were 45 and over, 63%. So I'd like to hear from the younger people on some of this stuff too, and their ideas.
Commissioner Cubitt.
Sorry, I don't know if it's possible when we do it next year, if we can give any kind of incentives or if it's even appropriate or possible to do like, if you spend 10 minutes, your name's gonna be entered for a drawing. I don't know if there's a problem, but that, we can't do that?
No.
Okay.
No, it's taxpayer money, so we typically don't do things like that, no.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Also, you get a lot of like overly flowery responses to try to goose their ratings, and I don't want goose ratings.
Anybody else? So thank you so much for these results, and we've been waiting for these. And I know we have several committees that were kind of waiting for these results to kind of reestablish and get going again. So hopefully we can reestablish some meeting times to kind of take those data into consideration. So thank you very much. All right, the next item is adoption of the agenda. And yes, next order of business, adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Commissioner Cubit.
Motion to adopt?
Yep. Is there a second? Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission wish to add any item to the agenda? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda?
Commissioner Cubit.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
Zanati.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
7 yes.
All right, the agenda for this evening has been adopted. Next order of business is for the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Commissioner Cubit.
Can I pull number 8, Commission as a whole resolution establishing a permanent polling location for the first ward at 1200 Washington Avenue?
Okay, number 8 will be on the regular agenda. Any other items? All right, next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove an item from the consent for consideration on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, print your name on the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item you wish to have considered on the regular agenda. All right, seeing no one come forward, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Commissioner Runberg.
Second.
Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Coakley.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
Zanati.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Cubit.
Yes.
7 yes.
All right, the consent agenda has been adopted. Next item of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will serve as the timekeeper. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward, print your name on the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. We do ask that you be respectful in addressing the mayor and commission, and just know that public input is a one-way communication and that the mayor and commissioners cannot answer questions at this time. Please meet with them after the meeting if you need further information. Thank you. Just make sure the buttons.
Got it. All right. My name's Katie Ball, 302 McCormick Street. And I'm just here. It's going to be really brief because I've seen that Kratom is on the agenda. So I just wanted to talk briefly about that. So I'm the prevention specialist lead at McLaren Prevention Services and the coordinator of the Bay County Prevention Network. So when I seen Kratom on the agenda, I found out earlier today, I was like, I got to go. A few things about Kratom, again, short and sweet. It's highly, highly addictive substance with withdrawal. Withdrawal comes with it. And it can get to the point where people need to use it every 2 hours because it's so addicting. We have people who are in substance abuse treatment for the use of Kratom. I even know people who have died from overdosing on Kratom, one of them being a childhood friend. This drug is flying under the radar, but it is dangerous, so I'm kind of happy to see it coming onto the radar. Further, I wanted to share that we are hosting a DEA drug take-back, partnering with Sacred Heart and with the Law Enforcement Center on Monday, October 27th, so we encourage everybody to bring any unused or unneeded medications that they might have. Don't let them sit in your medicine cabinet. Bring them back to the Law Enforcement Center. And then, side note about neutral on the survey. I am a neutral pusher, and it's usually because it's during different times. So something like, do you feel safe in your neighborhood? I feel safe at 2 p.m. walking in my neighborhood, but maybe not after dark in my neighborhood. So I'm a neutral pusher. I just wanted to let you know so that I don't get put on one side or the other. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, Commission. May I leave something with you, Madam Clerk?
Yep, through the clerk. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Sylvia Orduno. I'm a resident of Detroit, but I'm a statewide organizer on water affordability. And I'm coming here humbly today to ask for your support for statewide water affordability. And I say this for a number of reasons. I've been working with residents across the state, and we're looking at communities that we really believe would benefit from statewide water affordability legislation. I know that you all have been struggling for many years in trying to balance the cost of drinking water against sewage and drainage cost. And a lot of residents across the state are having this problem with their local governments, their water providers. And it's actually a common issue, as you probably are well aware of. I really appreciate the depth you all went to the community survey. It's really important. One of the things we found out, though, and that I've had lots of survey experience as well, is that low-income households tend not to do those surveys. But even still, if my math is correct, you had a majority of residents that said that they were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with the cost of their water service. And that's very similar to what we've been doing here, going around to neighborhoods and talking to residents, even in shopping centers. And my colleague here, Roslyn, can tell you a little bit more about the conversations she had with people as she was going around talking with folks. Last Wednesday, we had a community meeting at the community center, and several residents turned out, and they were telling us about their concerns with water bills. And what I want to mostly sort of put forth with you all is that we know that balancing the budget requires you to be able to figure out what you can charge and not charge residents. We know that it costs a lot to operate and maintain water systems, and there's so much more to do even beyond just that. All of the infrastructure costs are going up incredibly high. Residents cannot be expected to carry these costs in any way, and we know that you recognize that, which is why it's hard to keep adding rate hikes and debt service onto the budgets in order to be able to keep that balance. But it's a very real consequence that's happening now, where a lot of low-income households are really feeling concerned, if not frightened, about how they're going to be able to keep up with the cost of their water service, including drainage and sewage, when they know that there's so much to be done. And so a lot of communities have tried to kick that can down the road, right? But we know right now that water main breaks are happening. You've got a very old system. It's one of these communities across the state that's been here for at least a couple of centuries, right? And we know that you're grappling with these things. One way we can address this, though, is as Michiganders to not keep trying to do this community by community, because all local municipal water providers are under the same pressures about how do we do this. If we pass statewide water affordability legislation, we can spread the cost across the state and make it so that no one community has to figure out how to grapple with this themselves. And so there's definitely more I'm happy to share with you about this, but one of the things I'm hoping is you will consider passing a resolution in support of statewide water affordability. It will go a great deal towards helping us get something passed with the current legislative session. But we can't do this, again, in just any one community. If we do this together as Michiganders and with the vast resources we have here in the Great Lakes, we can actually really set a standard that is something that can be looked up to by other Great Lakes states and the nation. A lot of states across the country are grappling with the same problem, don't have solutions, don't have such immense amounts of great fresh water like we do here. So this is a problem we can solve, and it's something we can really do across states, across cities and townships. I'm just asking if you all will take a closer look at this, and I'm so happy to talk more about it when there's a chance. Thanks very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, how you doing today, Mayor and everyone?
Just make sure the
Hello,
light,
how
oh,
you
there we
doing
go.
today, Mayor and everyone that's in the room? My name is Roslyn Walker, and I'm a resident that have struggled with paying water bills and you know.
Could you just say your...
Roslyn Walker, and I'm a resident of
Oh, okay, address.
10864 Balfour Road, Detroit, Michigan, 48224, and I live on the east side of Detroit. And I was up here, and I did like surrounding grocery stores and basically different stores, and I passed out a lot of flyers, and I talked to a lot of residents that stated that they are having trouble paying their water bills and that the water bills are too high. And a lot of them were saying that they couldn't cook the certain food that they needed because they have to watch how much water that they use. And they also couldn't wash their clothes because some of them have to wash their clothes, and they also get charged the extra $1 for washing loads of clothes when they live in the trailer parks or whatever. So I was just hoping and praying that you all can look more into this and, you know, hope and pray that it's a thing that we all can do, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alton McIntyre. I'm from the city of Detroit as well. And I've been a canvasser since 2015 with Detroit Water Board Coalition, canvassing different neighborhoods, going into different communities, talking about the depths and disparities about water affordability. Water affordability is not only affecting just Detroit, it's affecting all Michiganders because we all need clean and affordable water. And I just learned here recently that we're surrounded by the Great Lakes. And here in Bay City, as we came up last week and was talking to residents, and I was just excited to find out that they're suffering from the same things we're suffering from. High water rates with no help. And I talked to a gentleman that he's on a fixed income. Him and his wife was on a fixed income. And they have to make a drastic decision on whether, you know, to pay their bills or to buy their groceries. And with the way things are going in the country today, water is something that we need. It's life. It's a life giver. It's a life sustainer. So we did our canvassing, and I'm seeing that much of the things that we're experiencing in Detroit, water rates going up and nowhere, landlords not paying their part of the bill, shifting the weight off to the tenant. The tenant is struggling to do their due diligence to keep their bills paid, keep their water on. I don't know here how it goes, but we're experiencing a lot higher water costs. It shouldn't be passed on to the residents because right now our state is in a state of emergency as far as water affordability. If we don't jump on this now, it's going to be something that our children and grandchildren will be dealing with in the years to come. And when I say that, I say it like this, because we can afford to live every day, but we cannot afford to live without water, never. Because when you look at the drainage rates in a different city, the infrastructures work that's going on, I've listened to the governor say fix their darn roads, but what about the water bills? What about the water that's going down those roads? The water that's running off of your houses, the water that's running down your drains, the extra curriculum that you want to do on the weekend that you can't water your grass, wash your car, wash a load of clothes at a convenient time that it's a peak hour. I've never heard of that. Lived in the city of Detroit all my life. We used to pay water bills once every 3 months. Now we're paying them once a month, and they hired in lights and gas. So I'm hoping that you will see something that Ms. O'Donnell gave you in the letter. And please, if we can come up again and show you how we do things as far as going community by community, door by door, just canvassing, saying how important this is to all Michiganders. The water is something that we cannot live without. We must make a way in order to make it clean and affordable for all Michiganders, no matter whether you're in Saginaw, Bay City, Detroit, Highland Park, Hamtramck, we're all Michiganders living off of the same water.
Thank you. Did you sign in? Thank you so much.
I'm Dr. Bill Maroney. I'm the Chief Medical Examiner for Bay County, Midland County, Iosco County, Aranet County, and Tuscola County. I live at 7323 Glen Eagle Drive, Bay City 48706. I've lived here about 20 years. I practice family medicine in the, right after the millennium. I moved out to Huron County, and then I've moved back, and I've had an office on Midland Street, Pine, and now I'm at 1009 Washington Avenue. I speak out supporting any ordinance that would bring structure and observation to Kratom, because in 3 of my 5 counties, we have Kratom overdose deaths. Kratom is a plant from the coffee species in Southeast Asia. It's primarily from Thailand, and it's consumed as tablets, capsules, and tea in America. At low doses, Kratom is desirable because it boosts energy, and at high doses, Kratom acts at the opiate receptor and it relieves pain. The problem is there's no FDA guideline or approval, so people are doing whatever they need to do. It acts like morphine at high doses, and I've been detoxing Kratom patients for 10 years. There is no regulation. It's kind of use it until you feel a certain way. I've had mothers taking Kratom, delivering babies at the hospital, and the hospital doesn't test for Kratom, and the mothers didn't want to admit that they were taking something. Babies went into withdrawal. Kratom is very insidious. I have a UPS driver that's addicted. He takes 10 grams of Kratom every day. He's now in opiate treatment and counseling with me, and he said when he came to me, if he didn't take his 10 grams a day, that's 2 grams here, 2 grams there, 2 grams there, he would vomit, he would crap, and he would sweat and go into full withdrawal with anxiety. And when he took his Kratom, he wouldn't go into withdrawal, but he was too confused to think and deliver packages. We need regulation and observation because the DEA didn't do their job. They didn't give us a safety statement. There is a Kratom advocacy group across America because they say some people find benefit. But with Americans having addiction personalities, this is not a good thing to sell in a gas station. At low doses, it's a stimulant. At high doses, it's an opiate, and you can overdose. EMS will not know if somebody was a Kratom overdose or a heroin or a fentanyl overdose. We need information about how to recognize Kratom use, Kratom overdose, and then we'd have to train our first responders to likely follow up and get people who are taking excessive amounts of Kratom, which is almost everybody, into treatment. So if you can observe and manage and regulate something that the DA didn't, it would be a good idea. I think, and you can disagree because you're the lawmakers and I'm just the physician, If you have a permit to sell marijuana, you should have a permit to sell kratom. And if somebody doesn't follow the law and sells it to the young and people that are underage, you can pull their permit. But unregulated kratom is unacceptable. There's an opinion at the federal government, this is an up-and-coming drug of abuse, when I've seen it destroy lives for 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Paul Kleino, 1713 10th Street. Just wanted to comment on a couple things on my radar. I was recently appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I've been attending the Planning Commission meetings. I wanted to suggest to the commissioners in the room to attend at least some of the upcoming Planning Commission meetings, even though it's not my committee. But they have started to go through the zoning rework that will go through next year. And I'd say probably next month, the month after, they're going to start getting into the nitty-gritty of how far apart should buildings be, how large should setbacks be, what's the lot sizes we should have. And all that stuff has an enormous impact on how much, say, affordable housing we can build in the city, what types of businesses we can develop. All of that is very important. So even if that's not something you're personally experienced with and have comments on, you're going to eventually be voting on it. So it'd be good at some point to pop in, listen, ask some questions, give input where you have it. Would definitely suggest making time for one of those meetings. And then other kind of future thinking while I'm on the topic, I've been talking with my own commissioner about a couple topics I've been thinking of, specifically on affordable housing and housing in general. And I saw on the feedback we got that people are commenting that there may not be enough single-family homes in Bay City, and we know some amount of them are, well, there's vacant lots, and some are just truly too decayed to be really useful for the average family, but there's also growing around the country, a lot of them going into short-term rentals. And while some of those are fine if they're excess space people have, for us to lose those to, you know, that could be a family living there, but it's going to be a sometimes used short-term rental through Airbnb, not really where we want to be. And other cities around the state are doing fairly strict regulations. I know Dearborn recently passed one where they locked it down to a specific area of their city center. I don't think we need to go that far. I think you can focus on certain things like if you are owner-occupied, then of course, if you have extra space, then you can do it. Or if it's a multi-unit structure, then up to half you could do it. But we got to focus on having housing for people in Bay City to have. And we have hotels, we have motels, we have bed and breakfasts. I just approved one at the last ZBA meeting. Those are different than short-term rentals, and we want to separate those out. Also thinking ahead with all of the housing developments that I know of, I think there's 4 I'm aware of along this sort of Washington Street stretch and around Columbus, where there's going to be a mixed income, lower income one. We have to think about what those people are going to be doing, how they're going to be traveling, what businesses they're going to be going to. One of the things that I found out recently is that technically there's not a proper grocery produce store in city limits, or at least not like a dedicated one. They're all kind of outside in the county. And I think particularly, especially for our like mixed lower income ones, but especially if we care about walkability, the fact that there's nothing along this whole downtown stretch anywhere is kind of crazy. And I think looking into what we can do to incentivize that, not as like a national chain, but as something local, something that can, you know, owned by someone in Bay County that's going to focus on the people in Bay County, especially, you know, people can walk and get their stuff without needing to take one of our limited buses. I think that would be really helpful. And lastly, on that same topic, just thinking as I drive back and forth along Washington to these meetings, and especially at the recent protests we've had, looking at people trying to cross Washington, and especially how that's going to get more traffic as we get more people living in this area. It's not really possible unless you're down by Columbus or unless you're over by the one-ways. There's no safe civilian crosswalk anywhere. We've got multiple fast food restaurants, and we've got the Y, which is an amazing public asset that we have. And it would be good to find a way to improve walkability, add some sort of crossing somewhere in that vicinity as we develop the area more. But that's all I had on my radar. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jill Cosley, 208 West Smith Street. I haven't been here in a minute, but I'm still on the same topic. Not sure if you all know this, but Bay City is known as the city of broken bridges. I don't know if anybody's heard that before, but I've heard it a lot. I'm not here to tell you that we have, but I'm here to tell you we have another part that's very broken, our fire stations, and the amount of firefighters we have to man them. We need immediate attention. Station 5 in the northwest area of the city, along with Station 2 in the south end of the city, were built where they are for a reason. Response time matters. Not how many calls the station has had, but response time. In the north end of the city where Station 5 is, bridges and railroad tracks surround our neighborhood. Bridges are at the northeast and southern parts, which affects response time from Station 1. And there are railroad tracks on Hart Street, State Street, Henry Street, Euclid, Patterson, Marquette, and Wheeler Road that surround the Banks area where I live, where the station got closed. We're literally surrounded by them. They go past at least 4 times a day and into the night. I timed one at 10 minutes just the other day. Cars were turning around and going another way. Imagine if a fire truck or ambulance was on the other side. Response time matters. Don't just take my word for it, though. Baltimore Fire Department states, and I quote, "A fire doubles every 30 seconds. This rapid growth underscores the critical importance of quick response times," end quote. I was talking to someone the other day who said that Bay City fires burned to the ground. Why? In a recent mailing from American Heart Association I received this week with signs of both heart attacks and strokes, it said, and I quote, "Learn the signs, but remember this. Even if you're not sure it's a heart attack, have it checked out. Minutes matter. Fast action saves lives, maybe your own. Don't wait. Call 911 or your emergency response number," end quote. Cleveland Clinic reports that every minute of a stroke, you're losing 2 million brain cells. AI Healthline says stab wounds bleed out in 2 minutes if hemorrhaging is not stopped. My husband had a low sugar episode, which he didn't recognize because he was put on new meds, and his blood sugar dropped, which usually was high. He thought he was having a heart attack. My daughter called 911, and a fire truck was there within a minute. We live 4 blocks from Station 5 when it was open. His level was down to 30. I found information about hypoglycemia from Cleveland Clinic, and I quote, "Severe hypoglycemia, 70 or under, can be life-threatening and requires treatment with emergency glucagon and or medical intervention," end quote. I shudder to think what would have happened had Station 5 not been open and he had to wait 5 minutes more for mutual aid or for a truck from a station further away. It only makes common sense that a medical mutual aid truck coming from Bangor would not get there as quick as 4 blocks from my home. All residents in the Northwest Banks area and all the business in the industrial park are within a 6 radius block of Station 5. Response time matters, and so do these residents. Station 2 is in a part of the city where mutual aid and Station 1 are far from an exceptional response time to get to them as well. I've spoken at many commission meetings and would like to thank the commissioner who put together a resolution to get an amount needed to fix Station 5, and to thank all those who voted for the money to spend on an architect. Even though it's going to be a lot of money, now is the time to find the funds that will be needed to fix it. I'm requesting that one of you, sorry, these are kind of stuck together. All right, one of you find out where funding can be pulled from. I'm also requesting that someone find the funding perhaps through grants. Flint just got a grant, and Bay City, Midland and Saginaw just got a grant for, and it's for public safety. I'm not sure if it's to hire firefighters, but, you know, please, somebody find some funding to hire the amount of firefighters needed at all the stations in the city. We don't have enough PSOs to pull from that source, which is obvious since we have houses burning to the ground. And one of you needs to get to the get the meetings going for Public Safety Committee this week. We've been talking about it, we keep talking about it, and it's still not happening. And for those of you who don't know, that haven't been on the commission long enough to have heard me speak more than once, I requested a Public Safety Committee be put together to find...
Commissioner Renberg?
I move to provide the speaker 2 more minutes.
Commissioner DeWitt?
Second.
Any objection? Speaker has 2 more minutes.
To put together a committee of people to find funding that we could put into a pool so that when fire stations do have something wrong with them, like there are broken windows and broken sinks, and our station got shut right down because they couldn't find the funding to fix it, that there would be funding already in a pool. So this Public Safety Committee hasn't been formed yet. It's been talked about. So let's just discuss finding some money from somewhere. FLOC money has been discussed. Anything else necessary so that when station needs fixing, no matter how big or small, we have some funds set aside to fix them. Waiting for this committee for any reason is not an option. It's really kind of sad that it hasn't been done yet. Fire and EMT are the heartbeat of our community. The hearts of our city residents are broken right now, especially in my area. We need your help to heal them. Our buildings need to be well kept and kept in the parts of the city where they are in. We need enough firefighters to man them. No matter what we do, this problem is here. It's going to cost a lot of money, whatever way we go. Please, keep in mind, response time matters. Let's do the right thing. Let's keep the stations in the areas of the city where they are so that people can be helped in a timely manner and not bleed to death. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Is that better? I can see you now. Jeff Reed, 409 Fillmore. I'm here to talk tonight about the Bay City Bridge Partners. Nobody's really happy about this, and it's important when our friends come from, we've had some people here from, I think they said Detroit, our neighbors over there. We need to let them know about these toll bridges so when they get back to Detroit, they don't get a terrible bill in the mail from the Bay City Bridge Partners. Last time I spoke, I was helping an elderly gentleman try to get his bill straightened around with the Bay City Bridge Partners. He was from Bangor Township. And I mentioned you really got to look at how they word this stuff. I want to start out with the law. I brought this one with me today because I felt it was important. A younger person mentioned to me that he was worried about his grandma going to jail because she didn't pay her toll crossing the Bay City Bridge Partner Bridge. And I told him, I said, you don't have to worry about that. I said, the Bay City Bridge Partners aren't in bed with the state of Michigan yet. The state of Michigan cannot suspend your driver's license for not paying the Bay City Bridge Partner toll, and the state of Michigan cannot withdraw your registration on your for your tabs for your vehicle. They're not in bed with the state of Michigan, and we need to make sure they don't get there because they're probably trying pretty hard. So you don't have to worry about grandma going to jail because she didn't give Bay City Bridge Partners their money. Okay, this gentleman asked me if I would go there with him to close his account, and I did. And according to this bill, it says previous balance $49, total $2, fees $25, ending balance minus $22. It's just a bunch of crap, in my opinion. So I get up to the window with this elderly gentleman, and he lets the people at the window know that I'm going to speak for him. He stepped aside, and the gentleman said, well, that'll be $22, the person at the window. The older gentleman looked at me, and he said, I got to pay them $22? And I said, no, you don't. I told the bridge partner person working there, I said, sir, I said, there's something wrong with your math, because I said, this man owes you $0. According to my math, I said the Bay City Bridge Partners owe this gentleman $3. He said, well, your math could be wrong. I said, yeah, that's possible, highly unlikely. When you look at this, well, he said he had to do a deeper dive. They closed the account for the gentleman. They stated that the transponders were turned off at that time. This man isn't going to drive across these bridges anymore. There's a lot of people that aren't, and that's great, because that's the only way we're going to get them out of here. So then, of course, he asked me if I could remove his transponders. And I actually removed a few transponders. I put them on this clear paper so everybody can see them. I just want to let everybody know they're not that difficult to remove. When you're ready to get these crooks out of your bank accounts and out of your pockets, it's not that difficult to remove them. If you use a flat razor blade for like scraping paint off a window, if you start in the bottom corner and just kind of work your way through, it takes a few minutes to remove it, but then you'll have to use some fingernail polish remover to get the residue off. And I would recommend collecting them. I think this is pretty nice. This is just the start, ladies and gentlemen. Who wants to go pay $30,000 roughly for a new car and then have to put one of these things on it? All you're doing is I forget the word. Advertising for the Bay City Bridge Partners, which is ridiculous. So,
time.
Commissioner Kubit,
Move to have the speaker have 2 more minutes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, the speaker has 2 more minutes.
Thank you. All right, so in the beginning of 2026, the Bay City Bridge Partners are supposed to have a new plan for us. That's my understanding. I don't know what anybody else knows about this. I know you can't tell us anything because it's all top secret. So I asked, there's actually 75 days left from today. We got 75 days left till 2026. So the Bay City Bridge Partners are going to be coming out soon with a new program. Oh, if you get one of these transponders, we got a deal for you. Don't fall for their crap, folks. They got their thinking caps on right now, and they're scrambling. They're scrambling fast because they know that Bay City residents, we don't want this company in our town. We're fed up with these liars, and we're disgusted. And we are going to bankrupt the Bay City Bridge Partners. Us citizens are going to do it. And we're doing it together, and it's working out just fine. It's going to take a while, but we'll get there. Everybody just hang in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public comment? Seeing none, the next order of business is remarks of the mayor and commission. Do any commissioners have anything? Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you to the chair. Just a couple of quick items. Without stealing any of the mayor's thunder, I did want to give him a shout out for the Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies events that he put on. It was a nice event. And also for the Meet Your Commissioner event, it was pretty cool to see some folks on a less formal level. Hopefully we do more of that. Also, I wanted to throw out there that I was asked for an update from somebody for the drop-in center at the Good Samaritan Rescue Mission. Spoke with Mr. Streeter, and the second week of November is when they're looking at opening. There have been some hurdles, one of them being some asbestos they had to get professionally removed, but that center should be open before it gets too cold, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Coakley?
Yeah, I'll be real quick here. I'd just like to see us be a little more proactive with the fire stations instead of waiting for catastrophic events to happen and stuff. I mean, I know twos needs some loving, and just like to have a plan with that one just before something happens there. Secondly, Trinity Episcopal Church on Center Avenue is having their roast beef dinner tomorrow, 5 to 7 o'clock. Anybody that can stop by, enjoy it.
Thank you. Rock, paper, scissors. Commissioner Renberg.
Thank you. Through the chair to the city manager, to follow up on Ms. Cosley's concern regarding the meeting of the Public Safety Infrastructure Committee, I know that we were waiting for the survey results. Now that we have them back, how soon can we get that reasonably scheduled to have another meeting?
It's probably going to be a couple weeks because I won't be in the office. So when I get back, I can get it scheduled.
Okay, I appreciate
Yeah, we
that.
were waiting on the survey. That's exactly what we were waiting on.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner DeWitt, and then
All right, we're going to stay on the similar topic. Do we have a response yet about the Marquette TIF area allowance for their funding that they voted for?
We do not. We sent another email today, actually, asking for an update from the attorney, so we don't have that yet.
Okay, what is the next step if we don't get a response? Because we're at 7 months since that passed.
Well, we could go to a different attorney, but we have to have an attorney opinion on it. So we'll let them respond because it went out this morning. I think it went out to them. And we'll see if they respond in a week or so, and then we'll move on.
Okay, I just want to know if there was a plan for that, because that 7 months is excessive for an attorney opinion for pretty much anything. They like to give you answers to send you a bill pretty quickly, usually. Next thing, on the bridge thing, something else I learned today. If you're going over the bridges and you have a trailer behind you, if your trailer is your trailer, it will actually read the trailer and send the bill to the trailer owner. But if you're taking someone else's trailer, you will not be charged the trailer owner is. And I had to help somebody with that today. They got a bill because their kid's trailer was being used by someone outside the family, and they got the bill to their house, had no idea. And the picture on the front was just of a truck grill that wasn't there, so they were like super confused. I got them in here and they explained it, and they had a talking to with their kid who let the trailer go out of the family. But it just a heads up, if they cannot read the truck because of a trailer, they will give you the fee to the trailer. Also, I also want to thank everyone for the Meet You Commissioner event and the ideas we all got from the people who showed up and our personal thoughts on what we can do to make that better next year. Survey results, I'm glad to see them. A lot of things that, again, have to swallow and have to figure out how to improve, and we have time, we have opportunity to do that. The last thing I have is about the lights that we just gave the awards for, and I'm hoping we've kind of hopefully we'll have something that we can get to everyone to get a baseline for how easement is going to work going forward, because this one was very confusing and nobody was really happy with the process, and that goes for all sides, and we need to make sure that's safe and make sure everyone's on the same page when we do when we're ready to do lights here in a couple months for Christmas too. So just make sure we're all on the same page, both residents and commission and staff, so that we know what to do after this learning experience we had this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shalaba.
Yes, I heard there's a citywide CDC meeting. Does anyone know anything about that? Where is it and what time?
Get that for you. I don't know. It doesn't go through us. Debbie doesn't.
Okay, because I ran into somebody at a political thing, and they invited me, but I don't know where they meet. This was a guy, the South End one, and then later I heard there's a citywide one, and they wanted me to come. So
Okay, we'll get
need
that
to
out
know.
to all of you. Yeah, we'll get that out to all of you once I check with Ms. Kiesel.
And I just want to say that for anybody that cares to listen, I will make opening these stations back up my legacy while I'm here. I'll do whatever I have to do, and I don't give up easy. And I got a couple ideas how to pull it off. Whether I can or not is another question, but I'll give it hell. And one last thing for anybody that cares, if you look up in the sky tonight, there's going to be a comet. And I saw one other one. I've been around for so long, I actually saw one. And you might only see one in your lifetime. It's pretty cool. That's all I have.
Thank you. So the citywide CDC meeting is October 23rd, 6 p.m. in Commission Chambers here.
Thank you.
So they're not going to have an official coordinating council meeting. They're having this instead to kind of talk about the overall picture of structure of the TIF board. So,
What was the time on that?
6 o'clock on October 23rd.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay, I do have one thing, and I know we have the Lions game. I think they're ahead. So I want to share a little story that's been told in Bay City for some generations. It's a story that lives quietly within the walls of this very building here, our historic City Hall. Construction of Bay City Hall began after residents approved the project back in 1889. The cornerstone of this building was laid in 1894, and the building was completed 3 years later in 1897. So it was during these early years, according to local accounts, that a tragedy struck right here on this very site. As the story's been passed down, an 11-year-old boy named Robbie Waldo was helping the construction crew, a common sight at the time, and this was before child labor law existed. He wasn't an official worker, but he carried tools, handed boards, and did small tasks, fascinated by the tower rising above the streets of Bay City. So one day in October, kind of believed to be around October 25th, 1894, Robbie fell from the roof while helping the builders, still holding a hammer in his hand. So his death was very heartbreaking, and it left a lasting mark on our city's history. Many believe Robbie's tragic loss helped open the public's eyes to the dangers of child labor and became part of a growing movement that eventually led to the stronger child protection and labor laws in Michigan and across the nation. Whether or not every detail of the story is documented in the law, the lesson remains powerful. His story reminds us that progress often comes with sacrifice, and that even the youngest among us can leave a lasting legacy. For generations, people have walked past the clock tower without knowing his name of the child who never went home from this very site. So tonight, I'd like us to change that. I'm proposing that the city work together with the Historical Society to create a small memorial plaque inside the clock tower, some kind of permanent recognition of Robbie Waldo's life, not only to honor his memory, but to ensure that future generations understand that this building isn't just brick and stone. It's a monument to the people who built it, worked in it, and in Robbie's case, gave their life during its creation. So this act of remembrance is not only about the past, but it's about celebrating who we are as a community. And Bay City's heart has always been about its people, those who built it, who serve it, and who dreamed. And sometimes those stories have been forgotten. So I'm willing to work to raise some funds to make that happen. There's space in the clock towers up there today. So, and then as mentioned by Commissioner Tenney, did have, I thought for our first year event, Healthy Minds, Healthy Bodies, we had 80 to 90 people show up between the walk and our health fair at the Jefferson Project. So thank you for all that participated. Commissioner Tenney was out there, which is great. And then the meet and greet on Wednesday, I thought that was a great interaction, something different, and we hope to do more of those in the community. Also, want to thank again those folks that gave, so Michigan Sugar, Beavers Pub, Mulligan's, and Paul's Flowers, who contributed for the Halloween decorating contest prizes. I appreciate that. And I was going to mention about the public safety meetings, but we talked about that already, so thank you. And next is any remarks from the city manager.
I have one remark. So we have the third ward is still open. Applications will be accepted through next Monday at 4 p.m. We have 2 applicants as of today. What I would like to know is when the commission would like to do interviews. The 2 meetings in November are going to be very busy because we have big presentations on both of those. So I don't know if you want to do it on an off night, which would probably be better.
Go ahead, Commissioner DeWitt.
If we have 4 or less, we might, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if we want to set a cutoff for the number of people. If it was like 2 interviews, we might be able to work through it, but if we have like 10 interviews again, we might need to split it. So I don't know. We have estimated times of the presentation, so I can kind of judge that and get a decision.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, typically we get them the last day is when people are filing them. So right now then.
For the other presentations, if they can give me an estimated time for how long the other presentations are going to take, so I can kind of gauge.
I mean,
length on that.
we can. I think the fire station one is probably a hard one to put a time limit on because I think it's an important discussion to have. So we don't want to have a limited time on that probably.
You all set? Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, if right now there's a few applications, maybe it's something we meet a half hour early if there's still only a few applications, and if we have 4 or more, maybe we just schedule on an off night. Just some thoughts. All right, next item of business is items on the regular agenda. Will the clerk please read the next item?
Resolution number 8, Commission as a whole resolution establishing a permanent polling location for the first ward at 1200 Washington Avenue. Recommendation approved.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Tenney?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Coakley?
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Cubit?
Yeah, I pulled this because I just had some questions and some concerns. I get that it's asking for us to establish a permanent polling location and to sign an agreement for that permanent polling location and to get out the proper notice so that our constituents know where to vote. So this is, the depot has been my polling location in the first ward. I definitely think that having consistent polling locations is very important. So just reading this in the packet, it just tells me that we've gotten notice that they're not available in May. And so, of course, you know, I was surprised and curious, like, what happened. I don't know what our agreements look like. The specific wording, I think, matters. And, you know, normally when you have an agreement, both sides are making promises. And so I know that you can't have agreements forever, so I don't know what the bounds of those are. But, you know, it's a big deal to move a polling location. So if the Pere Marquette agreed to be a polling location at one point, you know, one question is what changed, and could they just decide at any time that they want to change it? And if that's the case, you know, if we move it to the health department, are we going to be in the same position? I mean, I did hear that the health department is moving to the old Art Van building, so that gives me concern about the future. I certainly don't want to be moving again. So, you know, of course, it seems from this resolution that Pere Marquette Depot just gets to decide we're not doing it anymore, and we have to respond. And if that's the case, I guess that's just really concerning to me, and I wonder if our agreements on permanent polling locations have any teeth moving forward. I very much care about consistency for my constituents in my ward, and I just wonder what explanation, advocacy, or conversations happen to try and prevent such a change.
I'll speak first because as a former clerk, I'm probably going to say the same thing as TJ, but we agree moving precincts is not ideal for constituents. You want to make sure that they know where their polling place is, and you want to do that a repetitive place, right? Always have them at the same place. But over the years, businesses, we've had them quite a few over the last 10 years or so, that maybe a location closed, like one of the churches just completely closed, so we can't use their building anymore because it's just not maintained. Our agreements are done by our city attorney. There is a 30-day out in all of our contracts and agreements for the city. So we have a 30-day out, and so do they. Basically, if a business doesn't want us in their building, they don't want us in our building. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do to fight back for the Pure Marquette Depot, because they do have an event in May, even though we don't have elections every single May. This May we do. So we had to find someplace fast. And I know TJ and her staff did a lot of research on where to place somebody, because we don't have a lot of options in that area. And I guess, can you speak about the county building and what their plans are for that?
Yeah, and the county has been excellent trying to find us a place to work with. They did feel for us having to move out of Pure Marquette, but they will not grant us access on that day. To move for one election is not ideal. You're going to cause more disruption. It needs to be a permanent location change. They have signed on to do a one-year agreement with us to guarantee all 4 2026 elections will be in the current health department address that we're switching to. They have other plans coming up for that building, but as of now, it would still allow us an opportunity to continue elections there. So the thought going forward with everybody, barring something happening at the county, this will be the new established polling location.
Ask a follow-up question. I mean, I don't know the history of the Pure Marquette, but it seems like a beautiful historic building that was renovated, and I don't know to what extent city dollars went into us that happening. Okay, I mean, if it was nothing, it was nothing. There were no tax breaks or anything. I'm just really disappointed in Pure Marquette to agree to be a city polling location and to change their mind, basically.
Yeah, in their defense, though, we rarely have a May election. It just happens we have one coming up on their biggest fundraising day of the year. I mean, so.
And I can tell you from an election point of view, it was awful trying to navigate, as beautiful as the building is for what we need in the measurements and pulling it off properly. It was a hard setup. So it's not all bad that it's moving.
So for the plan moving forward, we basically have assurances for 1 year, but after 1 year, it might not still be the polling location?
Correct, and we're hoping the county is usually our only one that will only do a 3 to 5 year, and that's typical with us as well. All of our other locations, they're just on file and status quo, like until something comes up and they close or something's happening, we're in those places and have agreements with everybody. This will give us the 1 year, and then as soon as they know what the future of that building is going to be, it would give us all of 2027 if another change had to be made to get that established before the 2028 elections.
And I assume the city has a plan to make the change as widely publicized as possible to avoid confusion?
Yes, so that's why we've been kind of stressing a little bit. We started last week prepping for the February election, so this kind of needs to be done now so we can get as much education out there as possible while prepping for the election, because we also changed 5 recently, so we really need to get all the cards sent and start getting the repetitiveness out there of there'll be a change. And then the old location will also post that it's moved to the new address on election day.
Thank you for answering my questions. Of course.
Commissioner Coakley?
Yeah, you answered my main question about it being put out there and signed. Somebody who made the trek over to Washington School to vote one time and realized that it moved. It took me once to figure it out, just for those that show up at the last minute to vote. So it's a closer location for them. Just took one time, and then I had it figured out after that. So I understand moving is not good and change is not always the best in certain situations, but we gotta make the best of what we have.
Yeah, in addition to TJ sending every single voter a new registration card, so they'll get that, but she also posts too at the precincts that the precinct has been moved. So if they do show up at the depot, there'll be a sign redirecting them.
All right, Commissioner Zanatti.
Yeah, just a comment. We had a long arrangement with the school district where, you know, the bulk of elections were held in school buildings. And we had a great relationship. And then as we started having security problems in the schools, we tried to set our calendar up that we would give the students that day off. And we were able to do that for a couple years. But, you know, when you do a school calendar, we got to the point where the flexibility went away. So, you know, like pretty much all polling places have changed because of the school thing. So it's not good, but I don't think it's that terrible.
All set, Commissioner DeWitt.
On that note, for going forward, if anyone who is listening has a large space that is able to host elections, if you want to be on a standby list, I will take them. I will take.
No, there are very strict restrictions of where it can be held, which is what puts us in such a bind.
So can
It
you
can't
give me a
just
couple
be
examples then?
It has to be a publicly owned. It can't be a private
So can it be,
person.
could it be like a nonprofit space?
It can be. We looked at a couple churches, but unfortunately, our beautiful churches just don't meet ADA guidelines anymore, and a lot of them have fundraisers and things during the day inside that building, which can't happen when there's elections. So we have literally turned over many stones as soon as we found this out, stressing about it. But yeah, until the legislature changes of who can house an election, we're kind of pigeonholed right now.
Then I'll ask those who are listening from Lansing to listen to you.
All right, I'll set any other comments, questions? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt.
Commissioner Tenney.
Yes.
Zanatti.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Cubit.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, motion's been adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item on tonight's agenda?
Regular Agenda 1, Commissioner Tenney's resolution calling upon the state legislature regarding Kratom.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Tenney.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Discussion? Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you to the chair. So I was in the same boat as many people with this being an obscure supplement or substance, depending on who you ask, I suppose. I was approached by a community member. It was like, I've watched one documentary on this. Tell me more, please. They happen to be one of the folks that have a success story, I guess, for lack of a better words. His name's Andrew Turner. I know he couldn't be here tonight. He was one of the 5th Ward applicants. And from what I can gather, many people find Kratom to be good in lieu of opioids. It does bind to opioid receptors. Ergo, it can be very, very addictive, as we've heard from 2 professionals tonight. And we had another substance use counselor that emailed the entire commission. So in preparing this resolution, I looked at an ordinance that was several pages long. I believe it's from Virginia, and it's very well worded. The caveat I would add to that, though, is I consulted with the city attorney through the city manager and asked if we did pass a restrictive resolution, could it be enforceable? And the answer was a resounding no. We could basically ask gas stations, cigar shops, whatever, to not sell the substance to minors, to safeguard it behind counters, whatever we wanted to. But there's no real teeth when it comes to enforcing such a thing. So the alternative was to ask the states to put in place meaningful regulation of this substance, supplements, whatever you want to call it, of Kratom, to restrict it being sold to minors, to have it safeguarded, and that is all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Renberg.
I'd like to begin by thanking my 4th Ward colleague for bringing this to my attention, and of course for bringing this resolution forward this evening. I'm admittedly was unaware that the state didn't have an age restriction on this particular substance for purchase or sale. I did prepare a few remarks on here, so I will read from this, but I'll keep it brief. I first heard of Kratom more than a decade ago. Back then it was something you could pretty much only find in head shops. Those not informed on the lingo, where you buy your bongs and pipes for tobacco use only back then. But even then, it was sold as loose leaf tea that was ground, loose leaves that were ground up that you made into a tea and then had to suffer through the bitter taste of it, making you think twice about it. But since then, the industry has exploded, especially in the past several years. Today, Kratom is available in many flavorings and forms, from powders to potent extracts, all sold not just in head shops, but in gas stations and tobacco stores across the state. My concern, as others have noted, is that this remains an unregulated market. There's little to no testing of purity or potency. That means while a natural plant, there are no assurances that consumers aren't being exposed to heavy metals or other contaminants, and no clear understanding of dosage, which increases the risk of addiction or overdose. My greatest concern, though, is that many of these flavored or candy-like products appear to be marketed toward younger audiences, just as we've seen with flavored e-cigarettes. While we can't regulate this locally, this resolution takes a meaningful first step. It calls on our state legislators to establish a simple, common-sense protection and age restriction, much like we have for other potentially harmful or addictive substances. To be clear, this isn't about taking Kratom away from responsible, well-informed adults. Speaking as someone who has used this substance without issue and as someone who is in active recovery from a much different substance, I recognize that substance use is a complex and deeply personal issue. My hope is that this resolution sparks a broader conversation about testing, safety, and regulation, because we as consumers deserve at least that much. And with that, I will be supporting this. So thank you again, Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Coakley?
I'd also like to thank you. I was unaware there were no regulations on the age limit, which is always concerning to me with our youth. With that and everything I heard tonight, I've heard enough, and what I've looked up about it, I'll be supporting it also.
Anybody else? Commissioner Cubitt?
Yeah, I appreciate knowing about this issue. I think that as commissioners, trying to be advocates for our constituents generally is very much in our wheelhouse and in our job. I am still a relatively new commissioner, and I'm still trying to figure out my role and how to be most effective. I appreciated hearing from the speakers tonight, especially the professionals. I think that that was very powerful to hear their words. I found it to be both informative and persuasive. Unfortunately, the resolution on its face, I think, is even though it got me to dig more and learn more, I think that the information and the persuasion that I heard about real stories in the chamber tonight is not conveyed on this piece of paper. I don't want to say that I would never support a resolution to send something to the state legislature to advocate for our constituents. We just heard the story about apparently something that happened in Bay City led to child labor laws, which I think is amazing. And but I just, if we're going to use our time and our voice and our position for advocating for our residents, I want it to have oomph. You know, maybe having a letter drafted by one of the professionals, or have some citations for some like studies, or you know, it just, and if we send it to the state legislator, you know, on a technical level, I guess I don't even know, like, who does it get addressed to, you know, and do they even read it? You know, if we're gonna use our voice to advocate, I want it to mean something. And so even though I support this in general, I think that this doesn't go far enough, and I also don't want people to get used to the idea that any issue that they are concerned about, however important, and I hesitate even saying this, that we can just write letters for everybody. You know, I don't mean to minimize this issue at all, I don't. I'm trying very much to figure out what are the priorities of Bay City and me and my role and what I can spend my time doing, and I also want to protect our staff time too. So if we're going to do something, I want us to do it, but I want it to have impact and to mean something.
All right, thank you. Anybody else like to comment? Okay, seeing no one, to roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Zanotti?
Yes.
DeWitt?
Yes.
Rumberg?
Yes.
Charlebois?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Cubitt?
No.
Coakley?
Yes.
And Tenney?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no.
All right, the motion passes. Is there any other items for us tonight? All right, seeing